And I'm telling you right now, from the little snippets of clips we was able to see, she looked like
they did to bring All-Star here. So, trying to make it the best.
Hey, she done shot.
We need to talk about the silence. For months, the WNBA landscape was defined by what we didn't see. We didn't see the interviews, we didn't see the training, we didn't see the daily grind. The media machine that usually runs 24/7 seemed to hit a wall of static.
I mean, she ain't even jumping for real. Now, I don't think this was a three either. So right there, Caitlyn's shot looked like it's back, y'all.
But in the modern era of sports, silence isn't empty. Silence is where the pressure builds. And in December of 2025, that pressure finally exploded. Not with a press conference or a massive PR campaign, but with 16 seconds of video footage that changed absolutely everything we thought we knew about the upcoming season.
Nope, it wasn't. This looked like a mid-range shot. But overall, her form looked great. Team USA, and they really haven't been posting Caitlyn. I just gotta be honest.
This isn't just about basketball anymore. What we are witnessing is the fallout from a single training camp in Durham, North Carolina. And let me tell you, the ripples from this event are turning into a tidal wave. We are talking about a biomechanical controversy that has half the internet playing doctor, a sudden power vacuum that allowed a role player to become a media mogul, and a high-stakes game of political chess being played by a head coach who knows her job is on the line. If you thought the regular season was dramatic, you haven't seen anything yet.
It's pretty solid. Anytime you get on the JW in Indianapolis, that's a big deal. These are the moments that we're going to look back on and hopefully be able to, give a lot of credit to. Whatever's in our locker room is really all we need to go out there and win. And I'm honestly just really proud of our group every single day.
This is the story of the offseason that broke the internet. It all started with a video clip released by USA Basketball. It was short. It was grainy. To the casual fan, it looked like nothing special. Just Caitlin Clark back on the court, running drills with the national team. But to the diehard fans, the analysts, and the critics who have been sharpening their knives for months, this was the Zapruder film. This was the evidence they had been waiting for. And the first thing everyone noticed wasn't the shot, it was the shooter. We need to address the elephant in the room immediately.
Now, there was some news that came out about Angel Reese and stuff, but we ain't really too much tripping off that. Now Sue Bird spoke to the media yesterday. A couple of other coaches did, but
Caitlin Clark looks different, and I don't mean she got a haircut. We are talking about a fundamental physical transformation that has taken place in the shadows of her recovery. When she walked onto that court at Duke University, the rookie frame was gone. The lean collegiate build that we saw getting battered around in the paint last year has been replaced by significant muscle mass. We are seeing hypertrophy in the deltoids, the triceps, and the traps. She looks stronger, she looks bigger. And on the surface, that sounds like great news. Everyone said she needed to get stronger to handle the physicality of the W. But here is where the story takes a dark turn. There is a theory circulating right now, and it is gaining traction fast. It's called the muscle watch, and it is the idea that you can actually get too strong for your own good. The internet sleuths have been breaking down that 16-second clip frame by frame, and they are claiming that this new body has ruined her touch. It sounds crazy, but hear me out. The argument is that the added bulk in her shoulders has created a hitch in her shooting mechanic. When you add mass to the upper body, you change the kinetic chain, you change the release point. And for a shooter like Clark, whose game is built on split-second precision and muscle memory, even a millimeter of difference can result in a brick. The critics are pointing to a specific issue that appeared in the footage. They are calling it the right-sided problem. If you watch the clip closely, and believe me, people have watched it thousands of times, almost every highlight shows her going to her left. Her step back to the left is legendary. It's her bread and butter. But the theory is that she can't go right anymore because the new muscle mass restricts her torque when she tries to drive against her strong side. They are saying the team curated the footage to hide this. They are saying she has lost the fluidity that made her special. And it gets deeper. There was a moment in that practice, a blink and you miss it sequence, where Paige Bueckers hit her with a pump fake. Clark bit on it. She lunged. She lost her balance, and Bueckers sidestepped for a wide-open three. Now, in a normal world, that's just practice. People get beat. It happens. But in the hyper-forensic world of the WNBA offseason, that slip-up was weaponized. It became proof of rust. It became proof that the months away from the game, the time spent rehabbing that groin injury and that ankle issue, have dulled her instincts. The detractors are screaming that she's slow, that she's heavy, that the rest she took was actually just time to get rusty. But there is another side to this coin. While the internet is obsessing over her mechanics, they are missing the psychological shift. Listen to what Clark said at the camp. She talked about the isolation. She talked about how hard it was to sit at home while her team fought for a playoff spot without her. That kind of isolation changes a person. The Caitlin Clark we saw in Durham wasn't the joyous, free-flowing phenom from Iowa. She looked hardened. She looked like a professional who understands that her career is fragile. This intense practice wasn't just about getting shots up. It was a message. It was a public declaration to the league and to USA Basketball that she is back, and she is coming for the spot they denied her last summer. However, while everyone was looking at Clark's biceps, something incredible was happening in the background. If you want to know who the real winner of this offseason is, don't look at the superstar, look at the enforcer. Sophie Cunningham has pulled off one of the greatest media pivots we have ever seen in sports history. Think about it. She's a role player, she's a perimeter threat, but in the vacuum of the offseason, while Clark was silent and recovering, Cunningham stepped into the void and built an empire. She realized something very important. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just about Caitlin anymore. It's about everyone in her orbit. And Cunningham, who spent the last season physically fighting opponents who tried to hurt her rookie teammate, realized that being the bodyguard is a very lucrative role. She leveraged that enforcer persona into a content machine. Podcasts, viral tweets, outfits that break the internet. She did it all, and the data backs this up. This is the part that should scare the league office. When Google released their year-end search data for late 2025, the numbers were shocking. Sophie Cunningham ranked number 7 among all searched athletes. Number 7. She wasn't even in the top 10. Let that sink in. A role player on the Indiana Fever was generating more daily curiosity than the face of the sport. Why? Because Cunningham understands the modern game. She understands that we are in a drama economy. While Clark's camp was keeping everything private, Cunningham was out there getting fined $500 for criticizing refs on TikTok. She was getting fined $1,500 for hot takes on podcasts. She was feeding the beast. And then came the billboard. This is where the story gets into conspiracy territory. There was a massive billboard in Indianapolis featuring Clark's new Nike logo with the slogan, "Caitlin was here." Cunningham posted it, but at the exact same time, rumors started flying that Cunningham was linked to Project B. For those who don't know, Project B is the code name for the new high-capital rival league that is trying to poach WNBA players. The optics were chaotic. You had Cunningham standing in front of a monument to her teammate, while reportedly negotiating with a league that wants to destroy the WNBA's monopoly. It created this incredible narrative confusion. Was she supporting Clark? Was she using Clark's fame to boost her own value to a rival league? Cunningham dropped a quote that became the manifesto for the entire offseason. She said, "If people are going to be paying you multi-million-dollar deals, why would you not?" That is the sound of leverage. That is the sound of a player realizing that the old rules don't apply anymore. If a player like Cunningham can command 7 figures from a startup league, the WNBA's salary cap is broken. She became the unexpected poster child for the labor crisis, and she did it all by riding the wave of attention that Clark created. But fame has a price, and we saw the dark side of this fallout too. The same algorithm that boosted Cunningham also turned on her. The demand for content is so high that when there's no news, people invent it. We saw that disgusting, completely debunked rumor about an affair with a team executive surface out of nowhere. It was a reminder of how toxic this ecosystem has become. Cunningham had to come out and issue denials. She had to defend her reputation, and it showed us the precarious position these women are in. They have to be visible to make money, but being visible invites the trolls. It's a double-edged sword, and Cunningham is walking right along the blade. Now, let's pivot to the person watching all of this unfold from the sidelines, Stephanie White. The head coach of the Indiana Fever has been playing a very different game this winter. If you watch the regular season, you know Stephanie White. She was fiery, she was combative, she was getting fined left and right for screaming at referees and demanding protection for her rookie star. She was the vocal conscience of the team, constantly framing the Fever as the victims of a league-wide bias. It was us against the world. But in Durham, at the USA Basketball camp, that Stephanie White was gone. In her place was a diplomat. She was there as an assistant coach, working under Cheryl Reeve and Kara Lawson, the very establishment figures she was fighting against a few months ago. Her interviews were sterilized. She wasn't talking about unfair treatment or officiating conspiracies. She was talking about defensive consistency and guarding the yard. She was speaking the corporate language of USA Basketball. Why the change? because Stephanie White is smart. She looked at the fallout from the season and realized that fighting the league from the outside is expensive and exhausting. It's a losing battle. If she wants to secure her future, and if she wants to ensure that Caitlin Clark gets that gold medal in 2028, she has to play the game. She has to be inside the room where it happens. This silence, this sudden diplomacy isn't a retreat, it's a strategic realignment. She is embedding herself in the hierarchy so that next time, the Fever have friends in high places. But she couldn't help herself completely. There was one moment where the mask slipped. She made a comment about the toxicity of the discourse surrounding the WNBA. She called out the trolls. It was a subtle jab, but it revealed the tension at the heart of the organization. The Fever are the biggest beneficiaries of this boom. The toxicity, the rumors, the intense scrutiny, that is what is driving the ratings. That is what is paying the bills. White is trying to distance herself from the circus while simultaneously collecting a paycheck from the ticket sales that the circus generates. It is a delicate balancing act, and I'm not sure how long she can keep it up once the ball tips off for the new season. All of these threads, the muscle watch, the Sophie Cunningham media empire, the coaching diplomacy, they are all heading towards a collision course. And looming over all of it is the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. Caitlin Clark called the upcoming negotiations the biggest moment in the history of the WNBA, and she is absolutely right. This offseason fallout has given the players a weapon they have never had before, proof of relevance. Think about it. A 16-second clip of a practice session generated more engagement, more analysis, and more clicks than a standard playoff game. That is power. That proves that the players are the brand. The league isn't the product, the individuals are the product. The disconnect between that level of engagement and the salaries these women are being paid is the core of the fight. The Project B rumors aren't just smoke, they are leverage. When you have role players flirting with million-dollar offers from rival leagues, the WNBA is staring down the barrel of a gun. The players are signaling that they are willing to walk away if the new deal doesn't reflect this new reality. The intense practice in Durham wasn't just a workout, it was a demonstration of value. It was Clark showing the world that even when she isn't playing, she is the sun that the entire basketball solar system revolves around. And we have to revisit the Team USA snub. Remember the outrage when Clark was left off the Olympic team? Remember the trending topics, the furious articles, the fan rebellion? The presence of Clark at this winter camp was a direct response to that. USA Basketball can pretend it's just business as usual, but we know better. This was a correction. They realized they cannot afford another cycle of bad press. They cannot sell the sport without its biggest star. The fallout from the summer snub forced their hand. They had to bring her in. They had to integrate her. This camp was a marketing activation designed to heal the wound and bring the fans back into the fold. It was a capitulation by the old guard. So where does this leave us? We are standing on the precipice of the most anticipated season in the history of women's basketball. But the storylines haven't been written on the court. They were written in the gym, on social media, and in the boardrooms during this chaotic offseason. When the season starts, we aren't just watching a game. We are watching a forensic investigation. Every time Caitlin Clark drives to the right, thousands of cameras will be zoomed in on her shoulder mechanics. Is the right-sided problem real, or was it just a Reddit conspiracy? If she misses a shot, will the Muscle Watch trolls come out of the woodwork screaming that she ruined her form? We will be watching the locker room dynamics. Can Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark coexist now that the power dynamic has shifted? Cunningham is no longer just a sidekick, she is a viral equal. She has her own empire now. Will that create friction, or will it make them a two-headed monster that destroys the league? And what happens if Project B comes calling with a check that the Fever can't match? We will be watching Stephanie White. Can she maintain this Team USA diplomacy when the whistle blows and Clark gets hammered in the paint in Game 1? Will the diplomat vanish and the fiery protector return? And if she does go back to war with the refs, will her new friends at USA Basketball turn their backs on her? And above all, we will be watching the money. The players have tasted their own power. They know that a 16-second clip is worth more than the max salary the league is offering them. The economic war is just beginning. The intense practice in Durham was the butterfly effect. A single step-back three caused a hurricane of analysis, greed, and politics that has reshaped the landscape before the ball is even tipped. The fallout is bigger than expected because it exposed the truth. The WNBA has changed forever. The innocent days are gone. We are in the era of the super narrative, where every move is calculated, every silence is strategic, and every second of footage is currency. Buckle up. If this was just the offseason, imagine what the actual season is going to look like. The silence is over, and the noise is about to get deafening.